Thoughts I'd like to share with you today on this Wednesday. We're in a sermon series titled The Story of God. And what we're doing is giving an overview of the Bible. We're breaking the Bible down into 6 parts or 6 acts. Act 1 is creation. Act 2 is the fall. Act 3 is Israel. Act 4 is Christ. Act 5 is the church. And Act 6 is new creation. So far, we talked about Act 1, creation, and Act 2, the fall. And so there's a lot that we haven't talked about when it comes to creation and the fall. And so I'd like to go a little bit deeper today. As I talked about before, God has created all things with the intention of shalom, that all things would be in harmony and be in peace. And so as we've been created as relational beings, you've been created to be relational. God has created us to have right relationships, healthy relationship between God and us, a loving relationship between God and between us, one another, a healthy relationship inward, and a healthy relationship with creation. And when all of those loving relationships are healthy and in right order, there is what the Hebrew people would call shalom, peace, harmony. That's the way God intended things to be. And when sin enters the picture, those relationships are all messed up and we lose shalom. We lose the peace that God created us to have. We lose peace in our relationship between us and God, between one another, between ourselves, within ourselves, and also with creation. And so that means there's personal consequences to sin. There's social consequences to sin. And there's also cosmic consequences to sin. And we talked primarily on Sunday about the personal consequences. We talked about moving east of Eden, and we talked about how death enters the picture. We talked about how our relationship with God is broken. We are no longer in God's presence as far as the garden. We are exiled. We're east of Eden. We keep moving east away from God. And we also talked about how Adam blames Eve and Eve blames the serpent, and we blame one another. So social relationships are messed up. But one thing we didn't really talk about is the cosmic relationships, the idea of creation being broken. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But I wanted to connect in to Adam's responsibility, or Adam's call, Adam's vocation, which is our vocation to rule and reign over creation, to take care of creation, to tend creation. That's the way God designed it to be. And so Adam, the word Adam is technically means like dirt man. Maybe that would be translated dirt man. And so Adam is meant to take care of the earth. But unfortunately, because of sin, he will die and he will become fertilizer for the earth. It's kind of a weird twist of irony that the one who's created to take care of the earth actually becomes part of the earth. And so what happens is the relationship between man and creation is messed up. And we know this, right? We look out into the world and we see hurricanes, we see earthquakes, we see all these natural disasters, and we know that creation is messed up. But oftentimes we don't attribute it to Adam's choice. So I'd like us to look into the book of Romans, chapter 8 today, and I'd like us to see what Paul says about creation being messed up, and then understand what the future is when it comes to the creation that we read about in Act 1 and the fall in Act 2 as we move forward towards Act 6, new creation. So this is Romans chapter 8, starting at verse number 19. The creation waits in eager expectation for the sons of God to be revealed. So creation waits for the sons of God to be revealed. Verse 20, for the creation was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that creation itself will be liberated from the bondage to decay and brought into the glorious freedom of the children of God. Now, what was saying is creation didn't do this to themselves. This is a result of the choice of Adam. And it's frustrated because it has the consequences of Adam. It's dealing with Adam's choice. But it awaits a day of glorious freedom of the children of God. So our redemption is connected to the redemption of creation. Verse 22, we know that the whole of creation has been groaning. So creation is groaning. Earthquakes, the fires in the West, all of these natural disasters. Creation is groaning, as in the pains of childbirth, right up to the present time. So these things that we're witnessing are like childbirth pains, right? And now I've experienced that. Maybe you ladies have some experiences, but it's just this struggle that's going on before something glorious, right? Before birth. Not only so, but we ourselves who have been the first fruits of the Spirit groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for the adoption as sons, the redemption of our bodies. So creation groans, but we're groaning also. We're groaning on this inside. We're waiting for the redemption of our bodies. We're waiting for new bodies. We're waiting for Christ to come back and make us new with the glorious bodies modeled after Jesus. Creation's also groaning. It's groaning in such a way for Jesus to come back, and then when we are made whole in our new bodies, creation will be made whole. So their creation is waiting for us to be made new, and when we are made new, creation will experience this new creation, this new birth that it's longing for. So I think it's important that we see we were created to take care of the earth. But because of Adam's sin, the curse has come to the earth, and creation is groaning, awaiting human beings like us to be made new, to be born again, so the earth could be born again. When we are born in Adam, we are born to death. But when we be born again, that's what Jesus is talking about in John 3, when he's talking to Nicodemus, we will be born again with new bodies, because the first body, the body of Adam in us, is dying, right? And so we'll be born again to new bodies, resurrected bodies, and then the earth, the creation, will be made new. So that's the connecting point here. So sin has personal consequences. Sin has social consequences, and we know this. We know this. We feel this, but also it has cosmic consequences. Creation is groaning, and waiting for us to be made new, so that creation can be made new. It's important that we see the consequences. We were made to take care of this earth, and we know that not always have we done that. We have harmed the earth. We have abused the earth. It is groaning because of the pain that is experienced because of our sin. And so all that being said, hopefully that's helpful to you. Hopefully it brings some things into context for you as you take a look at the world that we live in. That's not God's design. God did not design earthquakes and all of these things. These are natural byproducts of human being and their sin of Adam, and our continual sin by not taking care of creation that God has called us to. So that's what I got. Hopefully you find that helpful for you. We are groaning inside. The earth is groaning, but one day, friends, we will get new bodies, and we'll be born again, and the earth, the creation, will be made new, and we will spend eternity on this earth, this renewed earth, and being a part of creation, dwelling with God for eternity. It sounds pretty cool to me. I hope you're having a great week, everybody. I'll be back on Friday with another video to give you a little preview of where we're headed on Sunday. Take care of yourselves. Grace and peace, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.